Now, boats form an integral part of many landscape scenes, obviously seascape scenes in particular, and it doesn't matter whether they're afloat like this or whether they're at rest on a beach where the tide's gone out. The shape of boats needn't be a problem to you. Again, it's all about picking the correct shape for the particular angle of boat. You can see I've prepared a few little sketches of boats already, and I'll talk about these briefly as we come to them. But just to get you going, if you've never been able to draw a boat properly and you want one that, albeit, is from a particular angle, in other words, from about the same level as if you were standing looking at the boat. Here I've drawn a figure of 8, very flat, shallow figure of 8, but simply by drawing a straight line like that and then bringing that round like that and that round like that, you can see very quickly, if we bring the eraser into it and take out that little bit there and that little bit there like that, instantly we've got a perfect shape of a boat, a rowing boat or a motorboat, or indeed any sort of boat. And then when you want to paint it, then away you go. Pick your colours and you've got your nice little rowing boat. The good thing is that using exactly the same principle and the same figure of 8, it's all a matter of scale, because if we bring that round like that again and we erase those unwanted lines there and there. Now if we look at this one, you can see that I've drawn almost like a flattened cup or a deep saucer, because it's all about the shape again, isn't it? What you can do is to round that off slightly for the bow of the boat, and perhaps if we take that a little bit straighter, something like that. The whole point of this is to give you a simple means of confidently and accurately drawing in the shape. And there we are. You've got a very, what you might regard as awkward looking shape to deal with, but is dealt with very, very simply. Let's just use a felt tip pen, and there we are. I think it's fair to say that if you've got a drawing that's as reasonably accurate and authentic looking as that, when you go into your painting mode, you're going to be pretty confident when you start to pick your paintbrushes and your paint up. Now, I said I'd move on to yachts, and the reason I wanted to mention yachts is because they're also another very popular subject for paintings, and particularly for landscapes. The main thing to remember is, if you have a look at these 3 pictures, here you've got a yacht, this one in fact, that's sitting upright in the water, and you can see how passive it is. Even though the sails are full of wind, the yacht is giving the impression of just steadily trolling along. The moment you introduce a bit of movement into the yacht, do you see how the yacht angles over? This is from the stern, this is from the bows, and you can see how the more it angles over, the more energy and the more movement is created, and inevitably the more movement is created in the water. Now I'm going to draw this very, very simply, and all it needs in the context of this landscape is a little bit of observation, because you can see that the point of the bows, the top of the bows here, is fractionally above the horizon. The stern is actually a little bit higher than the bows, and that gives that impression of the thing not capsizing but really heeling over. Right, I've just very roughly sketched in with a felt pen so you can see that a little bit easier, and I'm just going to take a ruler now, and that angle of that mast is something like that, so it's quite a way over. So that's given us an outline of where the mast will be, and all I'm going to do now is just, you can see the way that's a sort of a flattened banana shape. In fact, I might even exaggerate that slightly. And then a little bit importantly is the piece here, which tells us that the far side of the sail, that's really blowing into the wind. Okay, so it gives you a three-dimensional effect. But I think you can see already how that, if we just bring that down a touch, you can see compared to that, even though I've done a couple of lines and a few pencil lines already, you've got the energy and the movement of the yacht that is really what we're trying to achieve. Right, now you can see that I've painted in the in basic sort of titanium white the two sails, or the main part of the two sails. In other words, the bits that are actually getting obviously blown in the wind. What I'm going to do now is to add these two areas here with just a touch of ultramarine blue, still the same titanium white. Right, now you can see I've added a bit more blue and a bit more water because I want this part of the sail to show up against the clouds, and I don't mind too much whether it's darker or it's lighter. In this case it looks like it's going to be darker because of the light cream sky. Now, just to distinguish these top two sails here, I'm just also going to bring a little bit of that pale blue in like that. Let's have a look now at the boat, which is pretty well white. So here I'm going to go over the pale blue that I've already drawn in. In fact, we'll probably need a couple of quick coats here because the sea will otherwise show through, and that felt tip pen line certainly will. And now I'm just adding some nice ultramarine blue to replicate the lower part of the hull, but I'm making sure that the bottom part of it is more or less straight across, because that's where obviously the hull is rising out of the water. I'll just put a little bit of raw umber into the mast. I think the mast is actually white on this photograph, but just for a bit of variety I'll mix some yellow ochre and raw umber just to add a little more colour. Only want a little touch up there. Fortunately, you haven't got to paint much mast here because most of it's hidden behind the sails. Okay, that's fine. I'm going to stop while I'm winning on that one. Importantly, you can see that little white edge I've put in there that's going to catch the light. That's on the far side of the hull. That's going to catch the light coming from the left, and it also gives some important three-dimensional effect to the shape of the boat. Now all we're going to do to finish this off is put a hint of a couple of little figures and some foam, and I'm starting with that sort of blue sort of effect. We'll have one arm up there. Okay, just to finish off now with some pure titanium white as the bow wave sort of crashes through the water, and really that's all we need to sort of put in it. You can see that the whole point of it, of course, is to give ourselves an effect of a boat, a yacht in this case, flying through the water, pushed along by the blustery wind on an open sea on a summer's day. So there we are. There's a number of boats or a number of boat shapes that you can try out and put in your landscapes. I hope that figure of 8 dodge that I've shown you you'll find useful, because if you've never drawn boats before, then that's going to give you a very convincing looking boat that you can put in your picture, and you can start developing other ideas as you get the confidence. And certainly you can see from this example here where you've got the view of the boat looking from above, and again all we had was what basically a saucer, deep saucer shape. So there we are. There's a number of boats. I hope you go on and try and paint a seascape, and if you do, there's a few ideas to get you started.